Welcome, it's the F1 guy and we're talking the Baku Grand Prix, and well, it was a slow burner turned into an absolute classic. Four guys fighting potentially for the win. I mean, within 4 or 5 seconds of each other with not an awful lot of laps to go. We got incident, drama finally, but let's take a look. Let's take a quick look at the race. Right at the start, it was a good start from Lance Stroll up into P11 until he took out Yuki Tsunoda and gave himself a puncher, and that was his race done all by himself. Pierre Gasly made up 3 places up into P15. Lando Norris 2 places up into P13. Up at the front though, it was the 2 Red Bulls that crucially got really good starts. Max Verstappen getting past George Russell up into P5, and Sergio Perez getting past Carlos Sainz to put himself on the podium, which from there on he drove a brilliant race. Early on though, it sort of steadied off, not an awful lot happening. Norris made his way through the field. And then we got to the first stints with Charles Leclerc having a comfortable 6-second lead, which I'm surprised he lost so quickly. He stayed 1 lap out longer than Oscar Piastri, and then that lead just seemed to disappear. Did Ferrari get that wrong? They probably did, but the pace on the hards for the Ferrari was really horrible from there. We've seen the team orders actually work for McLaren. Lando Norris crucially holding off Sergio Perez, which kept Oscar Piastri ahead when he came out of the pits after that first stop. And then it was just hammer and tongue between Leclerc, Piastri, Sergio Perez. Piastri made the move, caught Leclerc by surprise. I'm surprised Leclerc didn't defend that inside line at all. He did move late though, and crucially made that corner, and even he was a bit surprised and really glad he made that corner. Didn't think he would, considering how late a lunge it was, but a great move from Oscar. He's shown what a machine he is when he comes to that, so clinical and ruthless. Great championship drive from there, and then the Ferrari sort of stuck with Oscar Piastri, and it was just a matter of could Leclerc get close enough to Piastri to make the move. Didn't quite manage it, lost his tyres, and then we saw the craziness at the end. Sergio Perez homing in on Charles Leclerc, pretty much got the move done into turn 1, didn't he? But Leclerc just, I don't know how he managed to hold on to that second place. Carlos Sainz with a great move nicked in and took that 3rd place off Sergio Perez. And then did he get, I think he got a bit too greedy into that second turn where he went, I don't know what he was trying to do on Charles Leclerc. Should have just really followed him through that corner. That gave Sergio Perez a sniff, and alongside each other they made contact. Out they went. I think it's really a racing incident when you look at the 2 steering angles of both cars. Carlos Sainz didn't move. Perez didn't really move. It looked like Perez moved more into Sainz than the other way around when I've seen the onboard of both cars. Both under investigation. I think the only potential might be if either gets a penalty for the next race, and I think it would be harsh. It looked pretty 50-50 to me, a racing incident. Anything more than that would be harsh. Before that though, we did see Norris make up the move and pass Max Verstappen, who was whimpering around that track, wasn't he? The 2 Williams guys, Alex Albon, and what a drive from him in his first stint to go so long, held up Lando Norris for quite a long time, and Max Verstappen, didn't he? Alex was so quick down that long straight, and I think that's what kept Norris out longer than he probably would have. Did he pit too late, Norris? He probably did, because I think a couple of laps earlier he would have passed Fernando Alonso, and with them fresher tyres would have caught up George Russell and potentially have got that position off him, and we might have seen it at 1-3, but it was a 1-4 for McLaren in the end. And that was the race there, really, wasn't it? It was, let's get to the 3 good and the 3 bad, really. Oscar Piastri is the number 1 on the 3 good. A mega drive from him to hold off Charles Leclerc for, 35 laps. It looked touch and go, didn't it? Either of the 2 could have won it. Had Leclerc got ahead of Piastri at one point in that race, I think, I don't think he would have run away with it, let's put it that way. but would have probably helped his rear tyres get to the end in better condition. But Oscar Piastri was clinical and ruthless when he got to Charles Leclerc. With these tyres, it's always the sort of the thermal, the heat in the tyres that make them difficult to drive rather than the tyre wear in itself. And so had he stuck behind Leclerc for a couple of laps or longer than that, I don't think he would have made that move, or would have got harder like we see with Leclerc on Piastri. But a ruthless clinical move like we've seen him do on Norris in Monza, brilliantly held on. 35 laps of just absolute precision. We didn't see him lock up, run wide. A fantastic drive. This guy, for a rookie to come in, he's really, you know, we were talking all about what Lando Norris and how he'll have to yield to him. Well, it was Norris playing the team game for Piastri, and well, Piastri can thank him a little bit for keeping Perez behind, but ultimately I think Piastri would have had the pace to pass Perez, and while we've seen what he did with Leclerc, a fantastic drive, absolutely phenomenal from such a young head. To see the calmness as well when he comes over the radio, it's just absolutely brilliant. It shows in his driving now. A track where we've seen, you know, tyre wearing out and managing them being difficult. He's, again, one of his weaknesses, really overcome that massively this season, and he's shown what a strong driver he is. What if we, like they said in commentary, if he'd started the season 7 races ago, Oscar Piastri would be leading it. He's been absolutely brilliant, so clinical, a fantastic drive from him. Second of the 3 good, going for the Williams guys, Alex Albon and Franco Colapinto, who well, has given this gig for 8 races and he's done himself no harm. He scored more points in 2 races than Logan Sargent did over the whole season. The only disappointing thing is here he's not really got a seat to go for. But could he throw himself in the Sauber seat with drives like this? It's the only place he's got on the grid. But what a job from the pair of them. Alex Albon in his first stint was brilliant. Held off Lando Norris, was really quick on his tyres for so long on that hards, and then brilliantly kept up in the P7 and a P8 from Franco Colapinto. Finished 2 seconds behind Alex Albon with 20 laps older hard tyres. An absolutely phenomenal job from him. A great drive. 10 points for that Williams teams. Moved them past the Alpine and the Constructors, which is crucial for them. These upgrades have come and they've worked, and they'll be going to Singapore hoping that they can, another street circuit where they can pull off a similar result. But a fantastic job from the pair of them, and from a rookie Franco to pull off the race that he did was brilliant. And the third of the 3 that got him, going for Ollie Berman. He picks up a point again in the Haas team. 2 races, 2 points, 1 for Ferrari, 1 for Haas. Probably the first driver to do that, finishing the points for 2 different teams. Got a little bit lucky, but he was, sharp as ever, wasn't he? When the incident, or the guys ahead of him, Nico Hülkenberg, Lewis Hamilton, going through the crash of Carlos Sainz and Sergio Perez, it was a yellow flag. It went green after the incident, and he caught Hülkenberg napping a little bit, didn't he? And made the pass and stole 10th place. Fantastic job from him. Other than that, it wasn't miles off the pace, but he put himself in a position to, make it count when he did. Absolutely brilliant job from him. He's given Haas a bit of a headache now, hasn't he? Like, do they now drop K-Mag and give this guy the seat till the end of the season? He's the one that's coming in for them next season, and to be as close and to Hülkenberg, beat him in qualifying, and to pick up points and so close to him in the race was brilliant. It's not what we've seen from K-Mag at all, and so did they put the right man in that car? I would say from now to the end of the season, considering he's a guy that's going to be taking that seat next season. He's done a really good job, really a great drive from the rookies this weekend. And we'll get to another rookie that should be taking a seat in a minute, but let us shout out to Sergio Perez as well on this 3 good. It didn't quite make the 3 good, and same with Carlos Sainz, to be honest, because the pair of them, Carlos Sainz, what a comeback. He was 10 seconds behind Sergio Perez at one point in that race, and to close up and then make the pass into P3. Such a shame that they touched, because we lost out on another lap of pure drama. They potentially could have had a Ferrari 2-3. We could have seen for a 1-2-3 with Perez on the podium, which much deserved, and Leclerc drop out of that. Anything was on the cards, and we kind of got a little bit robbed by that. But a fantastic drive from Carlos Sainz to put himself back in that position. He got up to Perez and crucially made a great pass, is something that Perez didn't do. Sergio Perez, though, we've got to give him all the credit. He was on the back foot for much of this season. He's been the better man in that Red Bull all weekend. Something we've not seen for him for an awful long time, and especially in race as well. Max Verstappen was falling back, beaten by George Russell in the end as well. And for this guy to be in there hanging on to race-winning pace shows what a really good job he's done. Such a shame that he's not got the podium he probably deserves, and would have given Horner the pat on the back that he probably deserves to hold on to Perez, at least for the races that he's good at. But ultimately in the end he falls short. Disappointing. Probably both could have done a little bit more to avoid that incident, and that's why I hope it kind of falls down to a racing incident rather than one of them getting penalised. Let's get to the 3 bad, and it's Perez's teammate. I'm starting with Max Verstappen. He was absolutely miles off. He was beaten by Sergio Perez in qualifying for the first time all season, and in the race he wasn't really in for a fight, was he? And just finished with a whimper. Picked up to P5, was finishing P7, passed by George Russell, beaten by Lando Norris, beaten by his teammate comfortably, who was way up the field. He went to try and get the fastest lap in the end with the softs, obviously couldn't do that with the VSC coming out, and really downbeat and a horrible weekend for Max Verstappen. This championship looks like it's almost slipping away from him. The best thing that he can really have hoped for, it's such a horrible weekend for him, is that Lando Norris only finished 1 place ahead and only 3 points gained on him in the championship, and it could have been an awful lot worse had we seen Norris, the man that he kind of needed to win this race, to really get the points out of Max Verstappen's lead. It would have been nearly 40 points the difference between them, and that's kind of the big gains we need with so little races to go. And he heads to Singapore next, where he's not got a great record, and Red Bull have struggled there even when they've been dominant. So another one where they may struggle again. Not the Max Verstappen we've seen, the sort of aggressive racer. He's a little bit placid this weekend, and not a good one from him. Second of the 3 bad is Ocon. He had a poor weekend overall, poor in qualifying, not a great race overall. He was slower than Pierre Gasly all weekend. He's gone off the boil since he's been dropped by the Alpine, and this weekend was, a bit of a horrible one for the Alpine, especially on Ocon's side. He had issues within a couple of pre-practice sessions, didn't get to complete them, stopped on track, hit the wall in qualifying, and got that tyre puncture in the race. He was just absolutely miles off, and this is the one where I think, should Alpine now be looking to drop him and bring in Jack Doohan, the guy that's going to take his seat from him next season. Ocon has had a couple of poor races, and so bringing Jack into the team early we've seen 2 rookies do brilliantly well this weekend, haven't we, in Franco Colapinto and Ollie Berman, and could Alpine be looking at this? The cars aren't changing massively for next year, the rules are pretty much going to stay the same, so to give Jack another 5-6 races would be brilliant, just to embed him in the team. And this is another one where I think, could they make the difficult decision? Ocon is a really good driver, there's no two ways about that, but he's just not on it. And could Alpine do with just getting Jack in there, giving him the experience to go into next season? It'd be a tough call, but it's something that they're potentially looking at now that they could consider. And the third of the 3 bad, I'm going for Lance Stroll. He was absolutely shocking, poor qualifying session, he's been hammered by Fernando Alonso, a crazy incident into just diving down and taking out Yuki Tsunoda. He was nowhere near or alongside him to have that move, and then that cost him the damage, brake issue in the end. I'm not sure if that was caused by the damage or incident with Yuki Tsunoda. He took Tsunoda out. Lucky he's not been investigated or got anything worse or penalty for that. Kind of got away with that, and then the DNF in the end. was so far in, he was going to get a low rating from me anyway. It was just another horrible race from him. But there we have it, Baku race done, straight into Singapore next weekend, which is absolutely brilliant. The racing has just been so phenomenal this weekend. It has been for the last couple of races. Formula 1 is absolutely brilliant to watch, and if you don't enjoy this, you'll never enjoy any racing in F1 ever. It was so close to see 4 guys go for the win, so close with each other, right up until the end, with a couple of laps to go, where it looked like then finally Piastri had done enough to win it, but it was anyone's gain up until that point. It was so good to see. This is the racing we've absolutely wanted for an awful long time, and if Red Bull can get their act together and get in this mix, it'll be even more phenomenal, and let's hope we can see something like that. But next off, Singapore. Ferrari do well around there. McLaren have, well, role reversal, what we've seen in Monza, in it. They seem to have nicked this one with strategy. Great racing from Oscar Piastri, and holds off for the win. Charles Leclerc, another Grand Prix at Baku where he's gone from pole position to not win, and honestly it looked for all the world that it was his to lose up into the first pit stops, and then from there on it kind of went a bit horribly wrong for him to lose 6 seconds from from that first stint was strange. I'm not sure where that 6 seconds was, and did he take it too slow on that hard to get them in, and that really ultimately cost him. Give Oscar Piastri a sniff, and from there on he left out, because there's no two ways about it. For a good 20 odd laps of that race, the Ferrari looked like the better car than the McLaren. Oscar Piastri held on brilliantly well, and defended brilliantly well, and Charles Leclerc probably go away kicking himself again for, we could have made it 2 wins out of 2. It's not to be Oscar with a masterclass, a brilliant drive from him. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe and comment as always. See you next time.